Hey everyone, welcome back to Switch Top. Today we're looking ahead at the most exciting games coming to Nintendo Switch and the Switch 2. Whether you're a day one buyer or waiting to upgrade, these 10 games are going to make the wait worth it. Let's jump right in. Pokémon Champions is shaping up to be a major shift for the franchise, moving away from the usual story-driven journey and focusing entirely on competitive battles, team building, and multiplayer strategy. Built for Nintendo Switch and the upcoming Switch 2, it aims to be a dedicated battle hub where players dive straight into tactical matches without long grinding or exploration. Battles follow the classic turn-based format, but feature many mechanics from past generations, like Mega Evolution and Terastallization, suggesting a layered combat system where timing and prediction matter as much as raw power. Team building seems deeper than in most entries, letting players adjust stats, choose moves, and recruit Pokémon through in-game trials or import their own roster via Pokémon Home, giving veterans a chance to revive old favorites. Modes include ranked, casual, and private battles, with both 1 vs 1 and 2 vs 2 formats, hinting at a strong competitive scene. Cross-platform play with mobile could grow the community even further. Officially announced on February 27, 2025, the game is set to release in 2026, with no exact day yet confirmed, but it's already confirmed to replace current mainline titles for official tournaments once it launches.
Bringing Pokémon battles to everyone. Pokémon Champions. Planned to release in 2026.
Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf, continues Lana and Wui's journey across Novo, but this time the world feels altered, haunted by the aftermath of the invasion and shaped by new forces that have risen in its wake. The sequel keeps its cinematic puzzle adventure identity, but pushes gameplay further with refined companion mechanics that deepen the bond between Lana and Wui, allowing more precise teamwork during puzzles and exploration. Stealth remains a key part of survival, yet action elements grow stronger thanks to new movement abilities like wall jumps and sliding, giving chases and escapes more intensity. Puzzle design now leans into physics, environmental interactions, and even manipulating creatures or robots, which adds tactical depth without sacrificing atmosphere. The environments are far more varied, shifting between ancient forests, snowy peaks, underwater ruins, and wide open biomes that each introduce unique challenges. Storytelling still relies on a wordless language, encouraging players to interpret emotions visually, keeping that poetic tone from the first game. Confirmed for early 2026, the game is set to release on Nintendo Switch and the upcoming Switch 2, positioning it as a quiet yet powerful adventure to watch next year. Spine is an upcoming action game set in a futuristic cyberpunk world where style and combat flow together like choreography. Players control a highly skilled protagonist bonded with an advanced AI system called Spine, which enhances reflexes and grants abilities that blur the line between human and machine. The game focuses on cinematic third-person combat, where every move feels deliberate and connected, creating a fluid dance of gunplay, melee strikes, and acrobatics. The combat system encourages momentum rather than button mashing, pushing you to think like a martial artist rather than just a fighter. Enemies react dynamically, and the environment plays a role in battles, making positioning and timing crucial. The world itself is filled with neon-drenched streets, corporate oppression, and a strong narrative thread centered around resistance and identity. Spine aims to blend story and gameplay seamlessly, keeping action intense while still delivering emotional beats. The game supports skill progression, new combat techniques, and customization tied directly to the AI link between player and implant. Scheduled to release in 2025, it is confirmed for Nintendo Switch alongside other platforms, offering a bold cyberpunk experience that leans into cinematic action rather than open-world exploration.
Combat, fluidly moving between enemies and never losing control of the action. Guns are our main focus. Everything in Spine is about how Redline uses firearms. Whether it's part of free-flow combos, dodges, or powering opponents, we always design our mechanics to feel like a gun-through movie. Like Redline turning opponents' guns against them.
The Rogue Prince of Persia brings a fresh twist to the classic series by shifting into a fast-paced 2D roguelike where every run reshapes the world. Instead of a linear adventure, players face ever-changing levels filled with traps, enemies, and parkour challenges that demand precision and instinct. Movement is the heart of gameplay, Wall running, vaulting, swinging, and quick dashes create a constant sense of motion, pushing players to treat each encounter like a fluid sequence rather than isolated fights. Combat blends agility with timing, as you can dodge, leap over enemies, and chain melee or ranged attacks, while experimenting with a large variety of weapons and medallions that alter your build each run. The more you master the system, the more expressive your combat style becomes, encouraging constant experimentation. Failure isn't the end, but part of progression, as each death leads to a new layout with fresh strategies. While it maintains the spirit of Prince of Persia's iconic acrobatics, the roguelike structure adds replay value and challenge, appealing to action fans who enjoy skill-based learning. The full version releases on December 16, 2025, for Nintendo Switch and the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2, marking a major shift for the franchise into replay-driven gameplay. Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dog Ties brings the series back with a full remake that doesn't just retouch visuals, it rebuilds combat, storytelling, and structure for modern play. Set across Tokyo and Okinawa, Kiwami 3 follows Kiryu in a reimagined adventure that balances intense street fights with quieter emotional moments, now delivered with enhanced cutscenes and updated mechanics. Combat has been redesigned to reflect the setting, adding Ryukyu-inspired weapons and new enemy types, including ninja-like fighters, which shift the rhythm of encounters and reward smart positioning. An ability upgrade system opens deeper customization, even allowing small boosts through accessories linked to Kiryu's phone. The package also includes Dark Ties, a separate campaign following Yoshitaka Mine, offering a darker tone and more brutal combat style that contrasts with Kiryu's approach. This second storyline enriches the overall narrative by exploring the mindset of a character once seen as an antagonist. With expanded side stories, refined brawling, and more character depth than previous entries, the game blends drama and action in the signature Yakuza style. Confirmed for February 12, 2026, it will launch on Nintendo Switch 2, bringing one of the series' most important chapters to a new generation. Assassin's Creed Shadows takes the series into feudal Japan, offering two distinct playstyles that shape the experience from start to finish. Players alternate between Fujibayashi Naoe, a stealth-focused kunoichi who relies on shadows, agility, and silent tools, and Yasuke, a formidable samurai built for direct confrontations and heavy melee combat. This dual-character approach allows missions to be tackled with precision or brute force depending on your strategy, making each encounter feel flexible and reactive. The open-world design captures historical Japan with castle towns, shrines, countryside paths, and layered rooftops that support parkour and infiltration. Stealth mechanics return to prominence. Sound, light, and enemy awareness all matter, while combat with Yasuke delivers a weighty feel, emphasizing timing and strength. RPG progression lets you unlock abilities, gear, and upgrades that further define each character's style. Exploration, ambushes, and dynamic movement keep gameplay engaging without sacrificing atmosphere. First released on other platforms, the Nintendo Switch 2 version arrives on December 2, 2025, bringing cross-progression support and touchscreen interface features that make navigation and menu management even smoother on handheld mode.
Another lives in the darkness. Driven by vengeance.
I have a debt to settle.
Bound by blood. We will be unstoppable. Adapt to every...
Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly Remake revives one of the most iconic horror experiences with a modern touch while preserving its psychological tension. The story follows two twin sisters trapped in a cursed village filled with restless spirits, where survival hinges on the mysterious camera obscura, a device capable of capturing ghosts through photographs. Gameplay focuses on exploration and atmospheric dread, with haunted homes, tight hallways, and abandoned ritual grounds that slowly reveal the village's dark past. Combat is entirely camera-based, forcing players to face enemies head-on and time their shots for maximum impact, which heightens fear and immersion. The remake introduces new mechanics, including camera upgrades, modern controls, and a sister bond feature that allows hand-holding to restore health and strengthen emotional connection, making the journey feel more personal. Players can collect charms that grant buffs and enhance abilities, adding a light progression system absent from the original. Enhanced visuals and sound design breathe new life into every encounter, while keeping the pacing slow and unsettling. Scheduled to release on March 12, 2026, it will launch on Nintendo Switch 2 and other platforms, making it one of the most anticipated horror remakes of the generation.
Accept the fate of the sacrifice!
The festival failed. It's all because...
Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition delivers the full Wasteland experience in one package, gathering the base game, all 6 expansions, and over 100 Creation Club add-ons into a definitive version built for both returning players and newcomers. Set in a post-nuclear Massachusetts known as the Commonwealth, the game places you in the role of the sole survivor, letting you forge your path through exploration, faction alliances, and moral choices that shape the story. The SPECIAL system remains at the core of progression, allowing custom builds that influence combat, dialogue, and survival tactics. From scavenging weapons and crafting gear to constructing settlements and managing power armor, gameplay blends RPG depth with freedom to play your own way. The bundled DLCs and creations add fresh areas, new quests, enemies, and tools for customization, expanding replay value greatly. A new creations menu streamlines access to mods and optional content, making experimentation easier than before. The Anniversary Edition first launches on major platforms on November 10, 2025, while the Nintendo Switch 2 version is confirmed for 2026, offering the series' most complete version in a portable format that could make long journeys across the wasteland feel even more personal. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales, brings Square Enix's HD 2D art style into fully real-time action, marking a new direction for Team Asano's work. Set in the world of Philabeldia, players step into the role of Elliot, an adventurer accompanied by the fairy Fae on a journey that begins beyond the walls of the last human kingdom. Unlike their previous turn-based RPGs, combat here is dynamic and responsive, relying on timing, dodging, and weapon mastery. Elliot can wield 7 different weapon types, each offering unique movesets and strategies, while the Magicite system allows players to enhance weapons with special effects and buffs for deeper customization. Exploration spans ruins, shrines, caves, and wild terrain, encouraging curiosity and risk-taking. Faye acts as both a combat partner and puzzle-solving ally, and can even be controlled by a second player in co-op mode, making it more than just a solo adventure. The structure mixes classic action RPG pacing with modern responsiveness, capturing both nostalgia and innovation in one experience. Confirmed for 2026, the game will launch on Nintendo Switch 2, aiming to deliver a blend of expressive combat, teamwork mechanics, and world-driven exploration that could stand out in the JRPG landscape.
Fight with swords for quick and well-balanced strikes. Bows and arrows to target enemies from afar. Chains and sickles to swing and pull enemies closer, and more. There are 7 weapon types in total, but that's not all. You can also strengthen your weapons by equipping...
Elden Ring Tarnished Edition marks the first time the Lands Between will be fully playable on a Nintendo system, bringing both the base game and the Shadow of the Erdtree expansion into one complete package. Players step into a vast open world defined by danger, discovery, and freedom, shaping their own Tarnished through deep RPG systems that allow specializations in magic, melee, stealth, or hybrid builds. Exploration feels organic, as every hill, ruin, or hidden dungeon presents a risk or reward, pushing players to make choices that influence how they engage with enemies and the world itself. Combat remains true to its Souls-like roots, punishing but fair, demanding timing, stamina management, and tactical thinking, whether on foot or horseback. The Tarnished Edition adds new armor sets, weapons, and mount customization, giving returning players more reasons to experiment with builds. With the expansion integrated, the journey extends into new regions and bosses that further expand the lore and challenge. Originally planned for an earlier launch, the Nintendo Switch 2 version has been delayed, but is now confirmed for 2026, aiming to deliver a fully optimized experience on the handheld hybrid platform, and potentially one of its most ambitious action RPG ports yet.
Why accept the burden of their grace, or be fooled by the dogmatic ramblings of the fingers? Rise with us, against the Erd Tree.
Never met someone with a taste for brawn or contrast. We'd make good mates, I reckon.
Dynasty Warriors Origins aims to refresh the Musou formula by introducing a new storyline centered around a nameless protagonist, placing players directly within a reimagined version of the Three Kingdoms era. Instead of controlling historical figures from the start, you carve out your own path across massive battlefields filled with hundreds of enemies, keeping the signature 1 versus 1000 style intact. Combat remains fast and explosive, but now features a wider range of weapons: swords, spears, gauntlets, and more, each with unique arts and unlockable abilities that encourage experimentation and build variety. The addition of companion characters lets you switch control mid-fight, adding a tactical layer that goes beyond pure brawling. Story missions blend large-scale warfare with personal choices, emphasizing loyalty, conflict, and survival in a world shaped by rebellion and shifting alliances. Origins keeps the chaotic thrill of the series while adding customization, deeper combat flow, and a more character-driven narrative. After its release on other platforms, the Nintendo Switch 2 version is set to arrive on January 22, 2026, promising stable performance and portable large-scale battles that could make this entry a standout reinvention for veteran fans and newcomers alike.
You claim to strive for justice, but have no way to achieve it. Tearing down the system without providing an alternative is mere wanton destruction.
Resident Evil Requiem returns to the roots of survival horror by placing players in the role of Grace Ashcroft, an FBI technical analyst, rather than a trained combat specialist, making vulnerability part of the experience. The game takes place decades after Raccoon City's destruction, with its ruins serving as a haunting setting filled with secrets and remnants of past horrors. Exploration, scarce resources, and tense encounters define the gameplay, pushing players to assess every decision carefully as ammunition and supplies are limited. The third-person perspective continues the cinematic approach of recent entries, but Requiem leans more into investigation, psychological tension, and atmospheric dread rather than action-first combat. Grace's background suggests that fear and uncertainty will drive the narrative, creating a slower but more immersive style of horror. Sound design and lighting appear to play major roles in building anxiety, while familiar Resident Evil systems, inventory management, environmental puzzles, and deadly enemy encounters return in a refined form. The game launches globally on February 27, 2026, including a version for Nintendo Switch 2, making it one of the first true survival horror titles built specifically with the new hardware in mind.
Something important.
Mom, I'm scared.
Grace. They're coming.
Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade brings the iconic story of Midgar to Nintendo players for the first time, delivering a cinematic reimagining of the original with modern mechanics and dynamic real-time combat. Instead of pure turn-based battles, the game blends action with tactical choices using the ATB system, letting you dodge freely, switch characters mid-fight, and unleash abilities with precise timing. Each encounter feels like a mix of strategy and spectacle, especially during boss battles, where positioning and resource management are key. The world of Midgar is densely crafted, offering exploration, character interactions, and narrative depth that expands on the classic story while introducing new scenes and emotional beats. The Intergrade version also includes an additional episode featuring a separate character, adding extra combat styles and side content to explore. Visuals take advantage of the HDD presentation, while still retaining familiar touches from the original, making it both nostalgic and fresh. With expanded content and modern gameplay, it serves as the definitive version of this chapter. The Nintendo Switch 2 release is set for January 22, 2026, bringing the first part of the Remake trilogy to the hybrid system and opening the door for the full saga to reach a new audience.
You're not real. You're dead.
This planet is my birthright.
I don't believe it. We played right into Shinra's hands.
The future isn't set in stone.
The world won't end today.
Mario Tennis Fever serves up a fresh take on the series by blending classic arcade-style tennis with chaotic Mario energy, focusing on variety, momentum, and wild power plays. Matches follow familiar tennis rules, but the new Fever Gauge system changes the rhythm. Rallies build energy, and once charged, players can trigger special fever shots using unique rackets that unleash unpredictable effects like ice patches or shrinking opponents. With over 30 fever rackets and the largest roster in the franchise's history, experimentation is at the core of gameplay. Different characters bring different playstyles, encouraging players to find their ideal match for competitive or casual play. Modes go beyond standard matches, including tournament mode, mix it up with wonder-style effects, and trial towers built around challenges. A quirky story mode adds extra charm, sending characters back to their younger forms as they relearn tennis to face unusual foes. Motion controls return through swing mode for a more physical style of play, while traditional controls keep things competitive. Launching exclusively for Nintendo Switch 2 on February 12, 2026, it aims to be both an accessible party game and a skill-based sports title with replay value.
A talking flower provides riveting commentary in tournament mode. Aim for the top by completing different objectives in the Trial Towers mode. Play matches with unexpected rules in Mix It Up mode. Even some where you'll experience
Marvel Cosmic Invasion brings classic beat-em-up gameplay to the Marvel Universe, with a nostalgic pixel art style and a focus on fast-paced cooperative action. Developed by the team behind TMNT Shredder's Revenge, it features side-scrolling combat where players choose two heroes and switch between them using the Cosmic Swap mechanic, chaining moves and abilities to create stylish combos. The roster includes 15 playable characters such as Spider-Man, Wolverine, Phoenix, Iron Man, and Silver Surfer, each with distinctive powers that influence strategy and synergy. Stages span familiar city streets and cosmic realms like the Negative Zone, providing visual variety and enemy diversity. Combat is responsive and designed for momentum, making encounters feel energetic rather than button-heavy. Multiplayer is fully supported, locally or online, with drop-in, drop-out functionality that encourages teamwork and replay sessions. The pixel art presentation blends retro charm with modern polish, capturing vibrant animations and flashy super moves without losing clarity. Launching on December 1st, 2025 for Nintendo Switch and Switch 2, it looks like a love letter to arcade brawlers, perfect for quick sessions, co-op fun, or showcasing different hero pairings through gameplay videos. Splatoon Raiders breaks away from the usual turf war formula and introduces a new direction for the series, focusing on exploration and narrative rather than competitive multiplayer. Set across the mysterious Spiralite Islands, players step into the role of a mechanic protagonist, a first for the franchise, hinting at gameplay centered around tools, repair systems, and possibly crafting elements. Instead of quick, match-based combat, Raiders leans toward quest-driven progression, resource gathering, and uncovering secrets tied to this isolated archipelago. Familiar Splatoon aesthetics remain intact: stylized characters, vibrant environments, and ink-themed visuals, but applied to a more atmospheric adventure format. The presence of Deep Cut as companions suggests story involvement and potential cooperative features, opening doors to character interactions and mission-based gameplay rather than pure PvP action. It aims to blend Splatoon's charm with an exploratory tone that could bring in players who prefer adventure games over shooters. Officially announced as a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, the game currently has no confirmed release date, with its status still marked as TBA, though speculation points to a release window between late 2025 and 2026. Monster Hunter Stories 3: Twisted Reflection continues the series' RPG approach by focusing on bonds between riders and monsties rather than traditional hunting action. Set between two kingdoms, Azuria and Vermeil, the world faces a mysterious crisis known as crystal encroachment, a phenomenon that distorts nature and threatens both humans and monsters. As a newly chosen rider, you discover a rare Rathalos egg, believed to be the last of its kind, placing you at the heart of a conflict tied to the fate of both kingdoms. Gameplay remains turn-based, encouraging strategy through tight matchups, skill management, and synergy with your monsties. Exploration and story progression play major roles, with towns, routes, and regions designed to evoke discovery rather than constant action. Monsters from across the franchise return, offering variety for team building and evolution, while customization systems let players grow and personalize their companions over time. The tone leans more narrative-driven and emotional compared to mainline Monster Hunter entries, aiming to deliver a character-focused journey with moral decisions and world building. It is scheduled to launch on March 13th, 2026 for Nintendo Switch 2 and other platforms, shaping up to be one of the most story-rich entries in the series.
Let's do this!
Pokémon Pokopia shifts the series into a cozy life simulation format, trading battles and gym challenges for creativity and community building. Players take the role of a Ditto in human form, tasked with restoring a deserted island and turning it into a thriving Pokémon habitat. The gameplay centers around gathering resources, crafting items, and shaping the landscape through terraforming and construction systems. A unique twist is that Ditto can learn Pokémon moves and use them to modify the environment. Watering fields with water gun, planting vegetation with leafage, or clearing terrain using stronger abilities. As different areas are built, new Pokémon arrive based on habitat types, creating a living ecosystem rather than a collection checklist. Dozens of species across generations are featured, including special, peculiar variants that bring mystery to exploration. The pace is relaxed and player-driven, letting you build farms, homes, gardens, and communal spaces while interacting with Pokémon residents. With no pressure of gyms or battles, the game encourages long-term creativity and world building. Confirmed as a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, Pokémon Pokopia is set to launch on March 5th, 2026, introducing a new genre to the franchise and inviting players to craft their own Pokémon paradise.
Friends will help you rebuild your world. They can light campfires, water plants, help crops grow, get light shining, and so much more. If you work together with several Pokémon,
Dragon Quest VII Reimagined brings the classic adventure into a modern form, aiming to preserve its rich storytelling while updating gameplay systems for a new generation of players. Set on a peaceful island, believed to be the only land in existence, the journey begins when ancient ruins are uncovered, revealing that lost continents once thrived across the world. Players travel through time by activating stone tablets, restoring these forgotten lands, and uncovering the fate of their people. This reimagined version enhances exploration with smoother traversal, quality-of-life updates, and refined combat flow, while preserving the turn-based battle system that defines the series. Job classes return with expanded skill progression, encouraging experimentation and strategic flexibility across party roles. Visuals are updated with a more vivid art direction, likely blending HD-style environments with stylized character models. Emotional storytelling is still central, with time travel allowing players to witness consequences across generations. While full details are still limited, this release aims to offer both nostalgia and modern accessibility. It is confirmed for Nintendo Switch, with the release scheduled for 2026, making it one of the most anticipated classic revivals for the platform.
Haha! This is the stuff! You and me battling side by side again! Flame Splitter!
007 First Light explores the origins of James Bond before he earned his 00 status, offering a more grounded and personal take on the legendary spy. Developed by IO Interactive, it blends stealth gameplay with cinematic action, giving players freedom to choose how they approach each mission, either through silent infiltration with disguises, gadgets, and social stealth, or direct confrontations with gunfire and high-intensity chases. The game revolves around early MI6 recruitment and first operations, immersing players in espionage, conspiracies, and morally gray decisions that shape Bond's identity. Environments are designed to encourage multiple playstyles, echoing IOI's expertise from the Hitman series, but injected with Bond-style flair and tension. Storytelling is layered, focusing not just on missions, but on how Bond learns to navigate the shadowy world of international intelligence. Gameplay shifts between quiet planning and cinematic set pieces, keeping pacing varied. As a standalone narrative, it's built to attract both newcomers and longtime fans. 007 First Light is set to release on March 27, 2026, including a Nintendo Switch 2 version, marking a major return for the franchise and one of the most anticipated stealth action titles on the horizon.
Any sage advice?
Play nice.
Always.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle brings the classic adventurer into a modern cinematic experience, placing players directly in his boots through a mostly first-person perspective. Set in 1937 between the events of the original films, the story follows Indy as he uncovers a mysterious global network of ancient sites known as the Great Circle. Gameplay centers on exploration, puzzle solving, and stealth, mixed with bursts of action using the whip, revolver, and environmental traversal. Levels are built with multiple paths, encouraging players to uncover secrets, approach situations with stealth or direct confrontation, and solve classic Tomb-style puzzles. Occasionally, the camera shifts to third person for whip swings and cinematic movements, keeping the pace dynamic. From desert ruins to snow-covered peaks, each location feels like a sandbox for discovery rather than a linear backdrop. Side missions, collectibles, and optional relic hunts expand the adventure beyond the main story, while a New Game Plus mode and post-launch DLC promise longevity and replayability. After its initial releases on other platforms, the Nintendo Switch 2 version is confirmed for 2026, offering a portable way to experience Indy's most immersive video game journey yet.
You're good at this, Mr. Jones.
I know enough to get me into trouble.
Octopath Traveler 0 returns to Orstera with a new approach that reimagines the series formula from the ground up. Instead of following 8 predetermined heroes, it begins with a fully customizable protagonist, letting you choose appearance, voice, skills, and background before setting off from the peaceful town of Wishvale, only to see it fall to tragedy. The story unfolds as a journey of rebuilding and discovery, blending exploration with a personal quest for restoration. Combat keeps the signature turn-based break and boost system, but expands tactics by allowing up to 8 active party members split between frontline and support rows, with mid-battle switching creating new depth. Over 30 characters can be recruited, making party setup feel dynamic and strategic. For the first time in the series, players can rebuild their hometown, placing buildings, farms, and paths, turning Wishvale into a growing settlement tied to progress. Town development, companion affinity systems, and path actions encourage engagement beyond combat, while the HD 2D style is sharper and more animated than ever. Launching on December 4th, 2025 for Nintendo Switch and Switch 2, it aims to deliver the most ambitious and customizable adventure in the franchise's history.
Time to teach you a lesson. Witness a tale of beginnings that unfolds across Orstera.
The Duskbloods marks a bold shift for From Software, taking their signature dark fantasy style into a fully multiplayer PvPvE format built exclusively for Nintendo Switch 2. Set in a world on the edge of twilight, players become bloodsworn, vampiric beings empowered by mysterious bloodlines, and battle for dominance across arenas filled with both hostile players and dangerous AI creatures. Combat carries familiar weight and precision, but now unfolds in match-based encounters with up to 8 participants, blending strategy, timing, and adaptability. Each Bloodsworn has unique weapons and abilities, and a blood history customization system affects stats, roles, and even fragments of lore that reveal more about the world. Matches aren't just free-for-all brawls. Dynamic objectives assign roles like Destined Rival or Destined Companion, pushing players towards specific goals during combat. Environmental threats keep pressure high, and the gothic atmosphere evokes echoes of past From Software worlds, but thrives on tension between cooperation and betrayal. Designed around replayability and competitive depth, It stands as one of the most ambitious multiplayer titles announced for the platform. The Duskbloods is confirmed as a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, with its release slated for 2026.
That you are able, carrier of blood.
Fire Emblem, Fortune's Weave, sets its tactical RPG roots within a grand tournament known as the Heroic Games, a contest said to grant any wish to the victor. The premise places warriors from across the land into a shared arena, turning ambition, rivalry, and personal motivations into the driving force behind the narrative. Classic grid-based strategy combat returns, with careful positioning, unit roles, and weapon effectiveness still vital. However, new mechanics add fresh depth. Blaze arts allow characters to execute powerful offensive techniques at the cost of HP, introducing high-risk, high-reward decisions in battle. Traditional classes like Myrmidon, Hunter, and Noble return, while new ones such as Orneus Rider and Charioteer expand tactical possibilities. Features absent in recent entries, like weapon durability, make a comeback, joined by systems like combat arts and crests to offer layered party building. Rumors of connections to the Three Houses universe, hinted through a brief appearance of Sothis, raise potential for broader lore ties, though the narrative remains set in its own era. With a large cast entering the Heroic Games for different reasons, character-driven storytelling seems central. The game is confirmed exclusively for Nintendo Switch 2 and scheduled for 2026, positioning it as a major strategy RPG title for the platform.
There's a man I hate so much that simply killing him will not satisfy me. For that reason, I refuse to die.
I won't let you hurt her!
Metroid Prime 4 Beyond drops Samus onto the alien world of Vuros, returning to the classic first-person exploration style while adding new mechanics to evolve the formula. Core elements like scanning environments, beam-based combat, morph ball traversal, and puzzle solving remain intact, keeping the atmospheric, lone explorer identity of Prime alive. New psychic abilities allow Samus to manipulate objects, redirect projectiles, and interact with structures in ways that expand puzzle depth and add tactical options during combat. A major addition is the V0 Law, a sleek hoverbike that enables faster traversal across open areas, adding a sense of freedom unseen in previous entries. Environments are structured with layered paths and hidden routes, rewarding curiosity and observation. On Nintendo Switch 2, enhanced controls aim to provide more precise aiming, and performance upgrades help deliver smoother visuals and quicker transitions between zones. Early impressions hint at a balance between classic isolation and occasional NPC interaction, sparking debate among fans, but widening narrative possibilities. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond launches on December 4th, 2025 for both Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2, positioning itself as one of the most significant returns in the franchise. Those are the top 25 upcoming games for Nintendo Switch and Switch 2. From classic franchises reimagined to brand new adventures, the future of Nintendo gaming is looking incredible. Which game are you most hyped for? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Switch Top for more Nintendo content.